Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into something that has the potential to completely transform your life.
You ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready to lay it on me.
Okay, buckle up because we're talking about self-talk.
Oh, self-talk.
That inner voice we all have, the one that never seems to shut up.
It can be pretty relentless, right?
It can, but here's the thing. The words we say to ourselves, they have so much power.
More than we realize, I think.
Way more. They can literally make or break our success, our happiness, our relationships, everything.
And this isn't just some feel-good fluff. We're talking about real, tangible results here.
It's backed by science, and honestly, anyone who's achieved anything worthwhile will tell you the same thing.
It all starts with that inner conversation.
Exactly. And the most amazing part, it doesn't take years of therapy or some complicated self-help program to make a change.
Really? Tell me more about that.
What if I told you that you could start to transform your self-talk in just 3 days?
3 days, huh? Sounds almost too good to be true.
It might sound that way, but think about it like this. When a tiny seed sprouts, those first few days are critical, right?
Yeah, it's got to take root and start growing.
It's the same with our thoughts. Even just a short burst of intense focus, like 72 hours, can create a ripple effect that lasts far beyond those initial days.
So it's like hitting the accelerator on personal growth.
Exactly. You jumpstart the process and set yourself up for long-term success.
Okay, that makes sense, but let's get practical here. We all have those negative thought patterns that creep in, those I'm not good enough or I can't do it thought. How do we actually flip the script on those?
It all starts with awareness. You have to catch those negative phrases as they pop up and then consciously choose a more empowering alternative.
Okay, so like instead of saying I'm not good at that.
You could say, I'm getting better at that. It's a subtle shift, but it changes the whole energy.
I love that. I'm getting better. It acknowledges where you are, but focuses on the growth, the potential.
Right. And what about that dreaded, I can't? Try adding a powerful little word to the end of that phrase.
Let me guess. You're going to say yet.
You got it. I can't do it yet. That word yet is like a magic key that unlocks possibility. It implies that you're on a journey, you're learning, you're evolving.
And it's so true, right? We're all works in progress, constantly growing and changing.
Yeah, absolutely. And when those why me thoughts come up, try turning it into a question of empowerment.
Like, what can I learn from this? How can I use this to grow?
Exactly. Every challenge becomes an opportunity, every setback a setup for a comeback.
It's about perspective. Instead of feeling like a victim of your circumstances, you become the architect of your own destiny.
Now imagine applying this kind of power to different areas of your life, your goals, your skills, your work, your relationships, even your health, your finances, your dreams.
What if you could harness the power of self-talk to achieve anything you set your mind to? That's a pretty powerful thought.
It is, and it's entirely possible.
Okay, let's break this down a bit. Let's start with goals. How can we use self-talk to actually achieve what we want?
Well, first things first, don't let those big goals overwhelm you.
Yeah, I think we've all been there.
Break them down into smaller, more manageable steps.
Bite-sized pieces, right?
Exactly. Focus on the next milestone, the next step in the journey. And every time you hit one of those milestones, no matter how small, celebrate it.
Celebrate the small wins. Love that.
It's about building momentum, right? Every small victory fuels the fire, propels you forward.
So it's not just about reaching the end goal. It's about enjoying the process, the journey itself.
And that's where self-talk comes in. Instead of, I'll never get there, you start saying things like, I'm one step closer today than I was yesterday.
It's about shifting your focus from the destination to the journey, to the progress you're making each and every day.
Exactly. And this mindset shift applies to developing new skills, too. Instead of focusing on what you haven't mastered yet, celebrate the fact that you're learning, you're growing, you're becoming more valuable every single day.
It's about embracing that I'm a work in progress mentality, right? We're all constantly evolving, and that's a good thing.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about work. We all have those days where it feels like a grind. But what if you could shift your mindset to find meaning and purpose in what you do, even if it's not your dream job yet?
That's huge. I think so many people struggle with that. So how do we do it?
Instead of just seeing it as a paycheck, focus on the value you bring to the table. Even if it feels like a small contribution, it matters. You're making a difference.
It's about more than just making a living. It's about making a contribution, leaving your mark on the world.
Exactly. Because when you have that sense of purpose, you have motivation, you have energy, you have that inner drive that propels you forward.
And that applies to everything in life. your relationships, your health, your finances, even your dreams.
Speaking of relationships, we often think of self-talk as being this internal thing, but it actually has a huge impact on how we interact with others.
That makes sense. It's like our inner world spills out into our outer world, right?
It all comes back to the energy we project. If you're constantly putting yourself down, focusing on the negative, that negativity is going to seep into your interactions.
Oh, I totally get that. It's like that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to fill yourself up with positivity first.
Exactly. And when you approach relationships with that positive energy, it changes everything. You're more patient, more understanding, more forgiving. You're able to see the best in others, and that brings out the best in them.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe in the good in others, they're more likely to rise to meet those expectations.
Now, let's talk about finances. How often do we catch ourselves saying things like, I'll never be able to afford that, or I'm just not good with money?
Ugh, way too often.
Yeah.
It's like we're setting ourselves up for failure before we even start.
Right. So instead of focusing on what you lack, focus on what you can control.
Okay, so instead of saying, I never have enough money,
You could say, I'm learning to manage my finances better. It's about taking ownership, empowering yourself to make positive changes.
and recognizing that financial success is a journey, not a destination. It's about making smart choices today that will create a brighter tomorrow.
Now, let's talk about something that can hold us back in all areas of life, the fear of failure. We all experience setbacks, but it's how we respond to those setbacks that determines our ultimate success.
So how do we reframe failure? Because let's be real, it doesn't exactly feel good in the moment.
Instead of saying, I failed, try saying, I learned. Instead of, this didn't work, say, this didn't work yet.
Ooh, I like that. It takes the sting out of failure and turns it into a valuable learning experience.
And remember, the past is just that, the past. Don't let past mistakes or regrets hold you back.
So true. It's so easy to get caught up in those old stories, those negative loops.
Embrace the power of this affirmation. My past does not define my future.
It's a reminder that we always have the power to write a new chapter, to create a future that's even brighter than our past.
And that brings us to another crucial element of personal growth, stepping outside of our comfort zones. It's easy to stay in that cozy little bubble, but real growth happens when we push ourselves beyond those self-imposed limits.
I think we all struggle with that. It can be scary to venture into the unknown.
It can be, but start small. Do one thing each day that scares you, even if it's just slightly outside your usual routine.
Okay, so baby steps. It's not about doing a complete 180 overnight.
Yeah.
It's about making small, consistent efforts to expand your boundaries.
And as you do that, you'll start to notice something amazing happening. Your comfort zone will start to expand. What once seemed scary will become familiar. And as your comfort zone grows, so does your confidence.
It's like a muscle you have to exercise. The more you push yourself, the stronger you become.
Exactly. And remember, this journey of personal growth isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. There will be days when you feel unstoppable, and there will be days when you want to give up. The key is consistency.
Consistency. That's where I always trip up. It's easy to get excited about making changes, but actually sticking with them long term is a whole other challenge.
Well, here's a powerful reminder. We often overestimate what we can do in a day, but underestimate what we can achieve in a year.
So it's not about instant transformations, but rather showing up consistently, day after day, and making small, incremental progress.
Just like a tiny seed eventually grows into a mighty tree, consistent effort over time can lead to extraordinary results. It's about trusting the process and believing in the power of compound growth.
This is so inspiring. I'm already feeling motivated to step up my self-talk game. But before we wrap up, I want to circle back to that 3-day challenge we talked about at the beginning. How can our listeners actually implement this into their lives?
It's actually pretty simple. Think of it as a personal experiment. For the next 3 days, commit to consciously shifting your self-talk in just one area of your life.
Okay, so pick something that really matters to you. Maybe it's your career goals.
Or your relationships, your health, your finances.
Whatever it is, choose one area, and for the next 72 hours, flood it with empowering language.
Catch those negative thoughts before they take root and replace them with affirmations. Visualize yourself succeeding.
Celebrate every small win. Act as if you're already the person you want to be.
It's about creating a momentum shift, a surge of positive energy that propels you forward.
And here's the thing, you don't have to stop after 3 days.
This is about creating a new habit,
A new way of thinking.
a new way of being. Because ultimately, the conversation we have with ourselves is the most important conversation we'll ever have.
It shapes our reality.
It determines our destiny.
So let's make it a conversation worthy of the incredible lives we're meant to live.
Lives filled with purpose
Passion.
and extraordinary achievements.
So what area of your life are you choosing to transform?
Let us know in the comments. We want to hear your stories, your breakthroughs, your triumphs.
And remember, you're capable of amazing things.
You have unlimited potential.
You are worthy of all the good things life has to offer.
So go out there.
And make those 3 days count.
Make them the catalyst for the most incredible chapter of your life.
We believe in you.
And it's time for you to believe in yourself.